What's going on, NMO fans? This is our first podcast with the group for 2013. New Fighting Order. We're back. Like I was saying in that solo video, we had to take a break. As you can see, Nelson is doing the Super Saiyan thing and letting his hair grow
Yeah.
out and whatnot. So, I just wanted to give everybody the floor. Tell us how your holiday went and whatnot, and then we'll get started on our topic. So, Nelson, welcome back. It's 2013. So, how was your holidays before we move in?
My holidays was it was okay. I mean, I didn't have like a good, somewhat Christmas into the New Year and stuff like that, but it was alright spending time with the family. Of course, everybody know that I've been, spending time working behind the scenes with the stream and stuff like that, trying to get everything upgraded. So, expect news from that really soon.
Gotcha. Demizo, how was your holiday season?
My holiday was good. I upgraded my computer to a 8 core processor computer, so I'm like beasting and feasting over here. And
Uh,
I went out New Year's and I didn't recover for like a whole week, so it is what it
Dang.
is.
All right. Yeah, my New Year's and holidays, I couldn't complain. This is the first time back in a long time because most of the other holidays I've been deployed on duty or I've been away, but this was the first time in a long time that I got to be home with friends and family and, I can't complain. Thank my blessings. So I hope the audience members, you guys had a wonderful holiday season as well. And for those who are still suffering from the after effects of Superstorm Sandy, it's cold up here in New Jersey, New York area, and Nelson can attest to that. It's like what 17 degrees
Just
outside
about.
with the wind chill, like it's cold.
Shit,
So those of you
it's
who are
cold down
displaced,
here too, bro.
but dude, I mean, it's sad when you're seeing like icicles from the mufflers of the police cars that are driving around because just the moisture coming out of I don't want to get on a tangent, but just want to welcome everyone back. I feel better. Actually the reason why this podcast is actually even going on because I had to take a sick day. Nelson's not feeling too well, but behind the scenes we know why. So we're just gonna leave
Oh,
it at that.
dag,
But
yo.
That man
I mean,
is
that's
wet.
stop it, stop it. No.
Wet.
All right, so the topic of today, and we're switching formats to be more competitive with some of our peers, and it's healthy competition. So we want to start, individualizing each podcast for single topics, so that again, if there's something that doesn't tickle your fancy, then you can just, move on to another segment. So this segment alone, we're going to be talking about the demise of THQ. Now, recently, Demizzle and On Your Knees have been our investigative journalists who have been pulling all the information during the time that Nelson and I are taking care of things for the New Fighting Order behind the scenes and stuff. So THQ, the reason why I'm concerned with it, I'm a big WWE fan like the rest of the staff. And what's going to happen to WWE 13, with the servers and things of that nature? Keep this in mind. We'll do the Metal Gear alert because that's going to lead on to another topic later on as to maybe certain individual companies shouldn't be running the servers because let's say that company falls. What's going to happen to the server of that game? You know what I'm saying? So going back into THQ mode, THQ started selling off a lot of their intellectual properties, okay? And that's a big deal because, Ukes was under them, and it's almost as if an earthquake occurred, and now the land is like splitting up. Now you have things going in different places, and it's like, okay, what's going to happen? How is this going to affect the gaming industry? And that's the first major change that I've seen within the year. So I wanted to give Demizzle the floor first. And Nelson, since, you've been working on things behind the scenes, you can just give your thoughts or, hey, maybe what's going to happen in the future. All right, so Demizzle, go ahead.
All right. Well, as most people know, THQ has entered Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which means like they're closing doors for good and they're selling off assets to pay debt. And right now, as of the 25th, they've sold off various IPs and licenses that they currently own. They've also sold off some of the studios that they currently have under their umbrella. Right now, Relic Games has been sold to Sega, Relic Entertainment, rather, and they are most notable for the Company of Heroes series. Violation and Metro, which Violation is known for the Saints Row series and Metro known for the Metro 2033 series, has been sold to Koch Media. Uh, Pride Tech has bought the Homefront IP from THQ. The WWE license, along with Evolve Studios, have been picked up by 2K Sports and 2K Entertainment. And South Park Studios and Montreal Studios have been sold to Ubisoft. The only studio that hasn't been sold off as of yet is Visual Studios, but there's still time before the actual Chapter 11 bankruptcy goes through. As for the WWE 13 server, since the license has been sold to 2K Sports and 2K Entertainment, I'm assuming that they'll be picked up by them. As far as their further development deal with Ukes, I don't know if the future WWE games are going to be developed in-house by 2K themselves or they'll continue with Ukes. So that's the state of THQ right now.
Right. And audience, I had to, deal with a family thing real quick, so I do apologize for that. But Demiso, I know I missed a little bit of what you were saying, but if I sound like a noob, I apologize. But the IPs that were sold off, okay, does that go into effect immediately, or is there going to be like a delayed onset with the changes going on?
It's going to be a delay, but those are the tentative agreements that are in place for right now.
I see. Now, my main concern is just the WWE thing. I still want to be able to play online with Nupe, Shinwar, and what have you. And it's just, because like our concern when we started hearing the rumblings from this, we tried to go online to play what was it, Elimination Chamber, and the servers are unavailable right now. We're just like, are you serious? Like, what's going on? And Nupe is just like, nah, man, F this. I'm about to go trade the game in, And this is something where I'm like, a bit concerned.
He's jumping the gun a little bit because with the WWE license going to 2K Sports and 2K Entertainment, they're gonna set up their own servers since they now own the WWE license. Going forward, will it mean that they'll continue their relationship with Ukes as the main developer of the WWE series, or will they bring it in-house is the real question, but the servers will be under the 2K Entertainment umbrella. So you can expect those to be back up shortly after the deal goes through.
Okay, so Nelson, since Demizel is informing us about this, what are your thoughts and feedback and possible, predictions for the future and how this is going to affect the gaming industry?
Well, from what I can gather, there's a lot of split between the THQ and within the WWE conversation. It's depending how the direction that they want to take it towards when it comes to online connectivity, because 2K games and whatnot usually just throws up their servers and doesn't really care. It's just depending on the person's ping and IP when it comes to netcode. They don't actually sit there and alter it and fix it. So that's gonna kind of worry the WWE 13 fans of the series when they've been playing the game online. And from what I can tell, I don't think it's going to be up right away. It's going to take some time because they have yet to address the fans. Not many people know about this change, at all, especially people who's just going to GameStop, picking up the game, and all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, I can't get online. So it's not going to be addressed
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
some
Mm-hmm.
people unless if we're like a part of media such as us that would know about this. And for THQ splitting like that, that's kind of like a bummer because they've been in like a household company for such a long time for them now to be departed and
A long
split
time. Yep.
into like several different companies.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it goes in a good direction for all the little
Mm-hmm.
partnerships that they have now, but that's just sad.
And
Well,
considering, yeah, go ahead, Dimension.
it's a case of THQ like trying to keep up with the Joneses because you got companies such as EA and Activision Blizzard trying to acquire everything under the sun, and they're trying to keep up, but they don't have the money to keep up, and it's a case of them trying to do too much with too little resources, and it ultimately came back to hurt them because the franchises and studios that they did acquire aren't known for pumping out games like every 6 months or every 12 months. And the games that they do acquire, like WWE 13, Company of
Well,
Heroes,
it's a fixed audience. I know what you're saying. I don't
yeah,
mean to cut you off. It's like a fixed audience. So once the audience is sated and they're satisfied, they got what they need. That's it. You're not getting any more sales unless they're pushing DLC, which is gonna have stuff trickle in. But nothing's like that initial sale of the units that they're producing. You know what I mean? So I see what you're saying, Dave. I see what you're saying,
it's not it's not
100%.
only it's not only that. It's like the games that they do put out, they're not yearly games. Like with the exception of WWE, like the WWE series, like games like Company of Heroes and Saints Row and stuff like that. They come out like once every 18 to 24 months, and that's not going to
Mm-hmm.
work if you're trying to buy up all these studios. Where unlike uh, EA, you got the EA Sports games coming out every year. You got Dead Space. You got games that are constantly coming out, just hitting. And
Mm-hmm.
THQ didn't have that with the IPs and studios that they acquired, so that's what
Mm-hmm.
ultimately hurt them.
uh, that kind of in the end, what's gonna end up happening? You're gonna just see a lot of shifting. It's gonna be like the NFL, NBA, MLB. You're gonna see a lot of trading, a lot of moving around, rearranging. It's not gonna be the same platform or the same environment in about 10 years. You'll be
See,
like we had predicted with Nintendo. If Nintendo goes the same route and they're still focusing on the kids, and with the Wii U not selling to expectations, you know what I mean? If they go, I wouldn't be surprised if they did go third party like Sega did. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be a very different landscape in 10 years. So what do you think about
like
that, Dave? And then Nelson.
I expect it to be a totally different landscape in 10 years, but I don't think it's going to be trading. I think not even within 10 years, within the next console cycle, which truly begins next year, you're going to see a lot of consolidation. And you're going to see like maybe 5 or 6 main publishers owning everything. You're going to see Sony, Microsoft, EA, Activision Blizzard, and maybe somebody else come out and just own
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah. Well, but you see, look what happened with Bell Atlantic. When too much consolidation, it can be turned into a monopoly type thing. Somebody's gonna come and bust it up. You and I both know this, But it's gonna be very interesting to see how this is going to affect just the consumer, because in the end, that's what's the most important. How is the consumer going to continue to get the titles that they were, looking forward to? Like it would suck to see some franchises just flat out go away. Look at how Microsoft handled the Killer Instinct thing, where we're not interested in doing it, and now that they want to do it, they can't even get the rights back to the name. You know what I'm saying? Mishandling of wonderful franchises is another. That's the flip side of all the splitting and the mergers and the acquisitions from different companies or so. But Nelson, what are your thoughts on that? Because that's very, very, it's 50-50 to see what good and bad can come out of
Yeah,
it.
it's really hard to say within the next 10 years because we don't know what will happen within like the world of gaming, but out of like things changing, it's crazy because like some of the fans expect like another good example, Platinum Games, the people who created Bayonetta, they expected like the fans expected Bayonetta 2 to come out for current gen consoles we have now, such as PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. And now, since the franchise went to a sudden change and jumped on the Nintendo bandwagon, it's supposedly exclusive to the company. So, stuff that we don't have that we wanted to have, it's not gonna always be there. So we're getting like a rocky type of thing where gaming companies are starting to be bankrupt. Some of them are being sold out, bought out by other higher marketed companies, and some of the IPs that was famous on
Mm-hmm.
those companies are being shut down now. Just like how with Rare, Killer Instinct is gone, Cameo is gone, Conquer Bad Fur Day gone. Some of the yep,
Really? Oh
some of the
yeah, that's right.
Nintendo,
That's
some
right.
of the
Uh huh.
lead Nintendo games, such as like the Donkey Kong and all the other stuff, because they was about to bring that out for current gen consoles for the Xbox and the PS3 as well, but they cut that off. Super, what is it? I think it's like Gem Fighter or something like that, or something like that.
Power
Right.
Stone.
Yeah, that you had GoldenEye 007. The remake never came out at all. They said that it was with
Yeah,
Reloaded.
yeah, yeah. I know.
That never came out. So you'd be pretty surprised. Like they're just shutting down major games, and that's not good. Same thing like with Konami giving over Metal Gear Rising when it was a totally different game at one point, and then Platinum Games swooped in, took over, and reformat the whole thing. And there's no more multiplayer. They promised multiplayer. There is
Oh,
none.
because Metal Gear Rising, when Konami was
Yeah,
developing, it was supposed to be a
when
multiplayer
Konami
game.
had it, they supposed to have it within the multiplayer thing. They even had a trailer, a glimpse of saying multiplayer mode and you going in and actually fighting with different people online. Now there's no more multiplayer.
It was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be similar to the Metal Gear 4 Solid
Right,
Online
right, right. But it's
multiplayer.
just with swords.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Wow, that I did not know that. I did not know that. But Nelson, what you were saying about how Platinum Games didn't take everything that Konami put in, they actually did. The Blade mode still works the same way that Konami developed it. They just took it and put it on steroids. Because Kojima was talking about that. He's just like he's surprised how they kept that mechanism intact or so, because remember the tech demo where you see Raiden cutting the watermelon and everything. If you strip down all the textures in the background, that's the VR training mode. So it's still there. It's just that they just re-imaged and they were given the freedom to make a new story, which when it was supposed to explain how Raiden became the cyborg and
Yeah,
whatnot. But yeah, I mean, just the whole thing where in the hands of different people, they may have a different vision for those IPs, and it may not go the way that. Well, look what happened with Ninja Theory and Devil May Cry. You got them developing an established franchise, but Capcom had another studio do it, and that's the end result. You see something completely different from what we were expecting, and it's the risk, and I guess change is something that we just have to adapt to overall, especially with those who are fans of the current or formerly, current stuff that THQ owned. Now it's going out to different companies. The CEOs and the execs are probably going to have different views on how they want things executed or directions that they want it to go. So, I mean, in the end, it's just gotta wait and see. Gotta wait and see. It's rather unfortunate, like we said. THQ's been around for a long time. Putting developing and just publishing stuff. So my main concern is I just don't want the wrestling franchises to be messed up. Saints Row, I lost interest after the end of the first Saints Row. Those who actually were really into it, we'll see what happens. So hopefully, it might be a good thing. You might have a Saints Row reboot or something. Who knows? Who knows? But in closing, do you have any final comments on this THQ, this unfortunate ordeal? And
Well,
Demiso, you go first.
I think the companies that acquired entire studios will leave the entire studios intact because usually when a company acquires a studio, they pretty much just put one of their own people in charge of the studio, but keep the main people who produce whatever games for them there. They hire them
I agree.
on. So that'll be a
I
good
agree.
thing. But what worries me is when they sold off individual IPs to companies like Homefront went to the Crytek developers, and Crytek is known for doing the Crysis series, but
Mm-hmm.
it just worries me when another company gets its hands on another company's IP because then you'll see like radical changes to the series that, as you said earlier, may not be a good thing, and that's what worries me
Mm-hmm.
the most.
Mm-hmm. All right, Nelson. Any closing comments before we close on this
I
segment?
just hope that this change is for the better, and hopefully we see something like actually good come out of it, regardless of the fact that some of the IPs might not stay intact. We might not even see them anymore, like Killer Instinct and so forth. But like I said, I can only hope for the best. I'm only gonna stay optimistic, and not to be off tangent, but everyone is so optimistic about this whole Devil May Cry shit, and people are really sitting there trying
Oh, we
and
got a
trying.
solo show for
Yo,
that.
yo, yo, yo.
We
We
got a
gotta do
solo show
that.
for
We
that.
gotta do
Just
that.
trust
We
me on
gotta
it.
do that because I got some stuff to say
Yeah,
about that game.
I'm waiting for the PC
I
thing.
got some stuff to say about
Yeah, I
that.
mean, that's going to be an interesting episode, audience. That's you're going to see me for and against the new Devil May Cry, but there's some valid points, and those who are defending the new reboot. My major concern in closing, my major concern with that, that I don't want to see happen with the THQ IPs, where you got the new IP holders, the owners who acquired them, saying bad things about how it was developed before. Like Ninja Theory running off at the mouth saying, hey, that Dante wasn't cool. That was a mindless hack and slash. Ours is better. No, you're picking something up. You have to respect the legacy that comes with it. You know what I mean? It's like me saying, hey, Demiso comes from another podcast, or me, or Nelson coming from Raw Gameplay, and I'm like, oh, Raw Gameplay sucks. We're better. Like, I respect everything that he did coming to this point and becoming his own entity with Fighting Game League and TSG. You know what I'm saying? Now, anyone who's a fan of Raw Gameplay, and I'm sitting there like downplaying you, Mike, Corey, Sean Griffith, and the rest of the guys at that time. I'm making more enemies with that established fan base. So this is what Ninja Theory needs to understand, and this is what the new IP owners need to understand. Respect what you have in your hand, because later on, these are the people that, hey, come to the fold, come to the fold. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just diss what's already there. I hope I make sense when I say this. So, Dimitri, are you going to say something? Okay. So,
In closing,
go ahead.
like what you said makes perfect sense because you don't want to alienate that fan base like Ninja Theory did because they truly alienated the Devil May Cry fan base. Like even though I'm not a fan of the game or the fan of the series, I know you're a hardcore fan of it. Like my brother is definitely a Devil May Cry fan, and he like we spoke the other day, and he went on this like 20-minute rant of how bad it was and like how alienated he felt from the game because even though there's a lot of similar gameplay elements from this Devil May Cry to the older ones, it's just that the way they changed things up and the way they downplayed and trash talked the old games, they're like, your game is no better, actually worse than the previous games, and you got the nerve to talk trash, and that's going to turn a lot of people off.
Now I'm gonna go on a wild swing and swinging for the fence on this one. If Devil May Cry 2 had Dante's signature moves, like the stinger. Well, he had the stinger, but if he had the million stab and a couple of the other signature stuff, and the weapon upgrade system where you actually see a change in the weapons as the upgrade went along as time passed, Devil May Cry 2 would have been more accepted than the new reboot.
Actually,
You know what I mean? So
I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think Devil May Cry 2 is better than the new
no,
DMC,
and that's
but
gonna be.
you know,
Well,
I
say
just think
again.
Devil May Cry 2 is better than the new reboot. That's just my opinion. Like,
No, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. If I think there's going to be a whole thing, but I don't want to burn out too much of the topic on that dedicated show. But you're going to see that in the next week. Actually, probably later today. Once I get the PC version in hand and I go through it, I'll probably get like a PC trainer and beat it so I can, give a synopsis of the story. So with that, we close the chapter on this particular topic. Some announcements. Check out D-Man Plays YouTube channel, playing all the classic games. We're actually going to find some way to integrate it into the NMO, NFO, and TSG network. So just be on the lookout for that. And we're trying to do like a little online tournament with Super Street Fighter 4. And just for those of you, stay tuned to the next podcast later on today, where it's going to be talking about reboots to major franchises. We're gonna, the sky's the limit. We're gonna talk about some extreme stuff where the Street Fighter got rebooted, Metal Gear got rebooted, all that stuff. So that's those are my closing comments. Nelson, anything for the group?
right now, like I said, just expect major changes within our little group right now, and just keep updating with us. Check our Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and just subscribe to the Twitch channel, because the more followers we get, the more you're helping us to get partnership with the actual Twitch TV website.
Alrighty, Demizzle, final comments.
Just check out the latest episode of D-Man Plays. I play Indy 500 from the arcade, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. I won.
All right. Shout outs to Tough Nerd Toys and the rest of the crew. We'll see you next time on the New Fighting Order podcast of 2013. See you later. Peace.